Hey, what's up, guys? It's another
Hey.
Monday.
What's
Hey,
going on? What up? What up? What up?
yes, what's up? We back for another night of romance and finance. You can join us each and every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're legacy builders, and my name is Tiana Moody. I am a realtor as well as an interior designer, and I have my business partners here with me. I have
Yeah,
Rashidi Locario.
yeah, Rashid Okari, yep. Same here, realtor, financial strategist, everything finances.
Say it with your chest. It's King Smith, aka
Right.
Mr. Life. I'm a financial service broker. I help with life insurance, retirement planning. I get you guys right.
And I am Tawana. I am your financial literacy coach. I help you with your savings, your budgeting plan, and credit.
All right, that's what's up. And so tonight, our topic is dating a narcissist. Dating a narcissist, right? So what is the definition of a narcissist? Let's just get right into it, right? Let's get into
Right.
it. And we want to know out there, any of the viewers, have you ever dated a narcissist and what was your experience? Hey, we want you to join in and hop on the live so you can share your opinion. So don't be afraid to speak. This is your time to shine.
Right.
All right. So
So who got the
break
definition?
down
Yeah,
break down some of the traits of a narcissist for us.
Oh, you want to? Well, let's
Let's
back
go
up.
with the definition
before.
first, right? Let's go
Yeah,
with the
definition. So, definition is someone who exhibits an excessive sense of self-importance, a deep need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. Narcissism exists on a spectrum, but it is an extreme form. It can be classified as narcissistic personality disorder, short NPD, a diagnosable mental health condition.
That's deep.
Mhm.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah,
That's real interesting.
I gotta say already though, that sound like me without the lack of empathy. I never thought I had a mental disorder,
You
woo,
need therapy, right?
Honey.
You need therapy.
I ain't gonna lie. Some of them traits is me myself. I didn't. The way you just broke it down, I'm like, damn, maybe I am a narcissist.
Listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't realize that you have it. So let's get into some of the traits of a narcissist.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Inflated self-importance, need for admiration, lack of empathy, entitlement, manipulative behavior, fragile ego, and exploitative. I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. So
Let's go.
that's
In.
7 different traits.
Mhm.
How many are you guys? How many? How many
Well,
of
well,
those are you?
let's start off with the ladies because we always hear y'all guys use that word so loosely. Like
Yeah.
I've been called a
Yeah.
narcissist, so I want to know what's your definition of narcissist. 'Cause it always seems like the ladies always he's a narcissist. Like that's the
Yeah.
going theme all the time. So
Yeah.
what's
Well,
your definition of narcissist?
my definition would definitely be somebody who was manipulative. Somebody who kind of is always right, never wrong, or always finds a way to skip over how you're feeling about the situation and more focused on the reaction rather than what they did. No accountability at all whatsoever. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay.
But that's my definition of a narcissist. And you know, this is kind of like a new thing. Narcissist is like a new word ever since COVID. Narcissist became like, you know, this big thing, and it's hard to define it because there's so much that goes into being a
Right.
narcissist, right? I even heard the other day, who was that, Nick Cannon found out he has narcissistic traits, right? He wants to get help with it. So I guess they're saying that's why he has so many kids with so many different baby mothers. What do y'all think about that?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He may have that trait. To be honest with you, some of the traits, the ones that don't match me, is lack of empathy because I do understand empathy and I have empathy. But to Nick's defense a little bit, I think it's needed a little bit. You know what I mean, to get to the next level. If I'm being honest, I mean,
Oh.
hey, listen. And part of the definition does say it's not just the person's not a bad person also.
Mm.
But no, I mean, I definitely feel like, I definitely want to feel important. I'm not entitled, so I won't go as far as say I'm entitled, but I do agree with the parts where it's like you want to feel important. And I mean, I'm a Gemini too, so some people definitely probably attribute me to being a narcissist, but I just look at it as I don't go over, I don't try to gloss over what somebody's saying, but I just focus on different points to get the point across. So I mean, clearly I have some narcissistic traits. Do I think I'm a narcissist overall? No, but I got some of the traits. You know what I mean?
I think all men have narcissistic. I think we all have narcissistic traits. I don't seek attention, but do I want to be admired by certain people? 100%, absolutely. Because if I'm a leader, then a part of it, someone admiring me is complimenting my leadership. So I think that certain qualities of being a narcissist is okay. What it is that I think that when it comes to the key word, shout out to Judy Locari. What's up, man? Right? So when it comes to anything excessive, like an excessive amount of attention is kind of crazy. Excessive amount of anything is too much. But I think that I think we've used we've used the word narcissist so casually that anytime a person hears it, it automatically goes to a negative state of mind of that person. And a lot of times the guy, for the most part, is doing something negative and they loosely use that word. But to Ra's point, in order to get to the next level, you got to be a little narcissistic. Hope I'm saying that right. But you got to.
You got to what?
You got to be a little bit of a narcissist in order to, like, not just take it to the next level, but be the greatest at what you're doing in general.
Well, I hope what you're trying to say is that it's good to have criticism in a relationship. And it's kind of like what we talked about earlier. You want somebody else, or you want a partner that's kind of opposite from you in the ways that they're going to see your weaknesses and your flaws and be able to tell you to make you a better person, right? But there's a way to do that. I think it's good when you see the best in the person that you're with, right? You want them to be the best. I think that's what love is. Or when you truly love somebody, you want the best for them, right? You want them to reach their highest potential. So sometimes when they might, give you their opinions on something, maybe how you look, or, hey babe, you might want to eat a little bit healthier. You might want to, go, walk. Sometimes we as women, we'll get offended. Like, what? He called me fat? Mm-hmm. But they're just wanting you to be healthy. There's nothing wrong with wanting a woman who's healthy, who's working out, who's active, right? It's all about inner healing and knowing where you stand and knowing yourself, right? About truly loving yourself, because you can't love anybody else until you love yourself. However, I feel like, on the other hand, I feel like narcissists, what they do is, it's like kind of like misery loves company, right? Mm-hmm. It's because I am so unhappy with my inner self that I am purposely doing things to make you unhappy or to manipulate you into my energy, So I feel like that's what, another thing that narcissists do. They do things to play on your emotions. Sometimes you can be really happy in a relationship. Like, just say you come home and you tell your partner some exciting news. Instead of them being excited for you, they find a way to get into an argument. Mm-hmm. And that's, so now everything that you just was excited about, you're feeling. And so they intentionally did that, though, to take your energy away, to take away that celebration so that you feel low. They're always constantly trying to make you feel at a low level so that they can kind of take advantage of you. And I don't think that it's just common in men. I think it's common in women too. I think women sometimes get really jealous of their partners, especially if they see their man doing his thing. You might not want, you might not be so happy, or you might get offended if he goes out with his friends, goes out on trips. So it can be both ways, in my opinion.
Right. To kind of answer Rashidi's question on my part, I actually, like what Tiana said, I never even heard the word narcissist. Honestly, like I just started hearing about it, I would say maybe about a year or so ago.
Really?
Never heard. Honestly, maybe I just been in a bubble. I don't know, but I never heard the word. I didn't know what it was. And it wasn't something, yeah, I just didn't know. So, but after I came out of a relationship, and I had what made me look more into it is when I worked with someone and she was married for years. They wind up getting a divorce, and she started telling me, that he was a narcissist. And I was like, well, break that down for me. What's the definition like? And so she started naming all these different traits, like the ones that I mentioned. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the person that I was with is a narcissist. Actually, she started breaking everything down. And then, like, even just looking at these definitions, I was just like, oh my gosh, like I never even heard of it, never even thought. And like, so I would just say, like, the person have at least 5 out of the 7 lists here. Like 5, just like Jesus. Like, so it's just like, okay, so even just to break down, one of the traits or a couple of the traits. So inflated self-importance. They may have a grandiose view of their own ability, achievement, and attractiveness. Like, and that was true. It was like the person's just like all about them, like what they accomplished, what they did. Like if I said something that I did or accomplishment, it would just always go back to them. Well, I did this. It was almost like a one up, The need for admiration, often to seek constant validation or attention from others. Lack of empathy, that wasn't the person's problem. Entitlement, believe that they deserve special treatment, that wasn't the problem. But the manipulative behavior, they often use manipulation, guilt, or charm to control the situation or people. That was like ding, 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 ding. Like that was him all the way. So I never really I've never heard of it until then. But now it's like I pay attention to it now. Like, is that a red flag?
That's why I say the narcissist list is so super long.
It's vague. It's vague. And so everyone, somebody, almost like I said, everybody's gonna fall under that category in one way, shape, form, or fashion because the list is so long, right? So so for example, like even with the criticism, right? Criticizing your significant other. There's a thing called constructive criticism. So that might be mistaken for a person being a narcissist when I'm just trying to tell you or show you certain things in a better way. But my delivery may be a little off, but the intent is there for me to help you do better. And a lot of women can't take constructive criticism. A lot of people in general can't take constructive criticism. So if I'm criticizing you, it's to make you better. And that's why they call it constructive criticism, because I'm trying to build you up. That might be mistaken for me being this narcissistic person because I'm trying to build you up. But because you're taking it wrong, it's not constructive criticism. Now I'm just criticizing you. And now, I'm this bad person. So a lot of times the definition of something can be misunderstood based off of perception. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of times, that's the thing that does happen. Now, something excessive or something with the wrong intent can turn something that's meant to build into something that's like horrific or really like bad. You get what I'm saying? And I think criticism is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing, like I'm sorry to cut you to T, but it's one thing to criticize your partner in a loving way, right?
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say.
However, if you're doing it like, oh, you gain another 10 pounds, I'm out of here. That's That's cruel, you know. That is, to me, is a definition of somebody who is a narcissist, you know.
Now that's delivery. It's all about delivery too, because
Yep.
all right, if I care about your health, right, and I see that you're gaining weight, right, I'm like, yo, look, babe, listen, I noticed you've been gaining some weight lately. You know, it's a little unhealthy. We got to figure this out because, you know, another 20, 30 pounds, I'm not gonna be able to recognize you. We gotta do something about this. We gotta change this up a little bit. I tell you what, let's join. You know, we got, you know, let's get this little membership going. We got the gym. We barely go. Let's take some time out to actually go to the gym and, you know, cut back on some of these carbs that we're eating and really do certain things to put in place to help. So I think that it's a lot of times it's definition and delivery that can change a lot from what's going on. But to your point, I get it 100%. I get it.
And it's also not using it as a weapon and coming back later because we in a heated conversation and now you calling me fat ass. You know,
Right.
You know, that's wrong. So it depends. That's why I said it really depends. Sometimes people are just really hateful inside. You know, you got to be careful because some people just don't have a good heart, or they haven't really, like we said all the time, they haven't come from a place of healing, right? Or on the other hand, another partner might not be ready to hold themselves accountable.
Right.
So each individual has to be really ready, and you have to really know who your partner is. And sometimes that's hard at first for a narcissist, somebody who's a narcissist, because apparently they hide who they truly are. So it's like you're meeting their special agent in the beginning, and then they kind of like flip on you.
Ooh, child.
Nah, that's a real thing. You ain't even lying.
It is. It's almost like they put up a front to get you.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
And it makes it hard in the next relationship because, like I said, you know, I've spoken before about my healing and red flags. And so sometimes I wonder if it's me just not healing. I haven't been, you know, fully healed. Are these really red flags? You know what I'm saying? So it makes it tough when you're dating again.
So, I mean, I do agree with all of y'all. You know, I mean, the one key thing I took away from it is excessive. So excessive manipulation, you know, no empathy, all that type of stuff. 2K's point, I think it is about delivery. Because if we're being honest, we all manipulate a little bit though. Like I don't think anybody doesn't not manipulate. You know what I mean? I think it's just a matter of 2K's point. If it's you have bad intentions behind it, you know what I mean? It being excessive. Like if you know somebody's at a big disadvantage, meaning somebody that just you know they're super. I mean, the lack of words, soft. You know what I mean? You know that type of person you kind of frame how you want. So if you're framing them to the point to where to do whatever you want at all times, then that's narcissistic behavior. You know what I mean? So like I think that's what it comes down to me. You know what it comes down to, it seems like, where you're just doing too much stuff too excessively. Because I'll be honest with you, you know, we gotta push each other in different directions. We gotta manipulate a little bit. You know what I mean? 2K's point is that, you know, is it manipulation? You know, like you said, if we're dealing with the weight thing, it's like, all right, let's try the salad together, versus saying like, oh, you gain too much weight. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a whole different approach.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just a level of self-worth. So what I will say, why it does probably pertain more to men in general, is because we do want to be the most important thing. Because naturally, in our defense, most times, I won't say we are the most important thing, but we are of importance. You know what I mean? So I think it's one of those things where it just goes with our ego, but it becomes a problem when we get egotistical and let our ego get out of control. Because that's when it becomes a problem. Where it's like, you know, you're like king, you know, the ultimate king. Like everything goes, everything I say go. You just do what I say to do when I need to do it. Pick this up. Don't watch TV at this time. When you become, you know, somebody's boss, you know, that's when I feel like you become a narcissist. You know, so I do find it a little ironic though, little jab at the ladies, how you always want to be bosses. But that's another story.
For another topic and another podcast.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh God.
I would like to ask this question because you know, we talk about, you know, romance, finance, and we talk about, you know, what women fall into, the same kind of guys they date or whatever like that. So why do you think some people are drawn to narcissistic partners?
I mean, to be quite honest with you, everybody wants, because narcissistic behavior can be mistaken for leadership, and a lot of people do look for leadership. So I think, to be honest with you, that's kind of what it is. I mean, you know, if you're, because in all honesty, if we're being honest, most times, most people look for a leader. Like they say statistically, I think from a population standpoint, there's only about like 15% of leaders in the world. You know what I mean, in terms of correlations of population. So therefore, you know, 85%, 80% is looking to follow the proper leader. Right. So it probably just, like I said, just gets misconstrued with someone being narcissist and being an actual leader. And then by the time y'all find out that they're not a leader and they're narcissists, that's why this word's been going around and been growing for the past couple of years.
Yeah, well, I don't. That's what I was gonna say. I don't necessarily think that is being attracted to a leader, because, like you said, somebody who's a narcissist is clearly not a leader, right? However, I feel like it stems down to, which Ashley just pointed out in the comments. Thank you, Ashley. She mentioned, you know, about your past and past trauma and learning things from your parents, because that's kind of where you learn it from, in your household, where it started from, right? And I feel like a lot of women probably are drawn to narcissistic men because of some kind of past trauma that they've been through in their childhood, whether that be abandoned by their mother or father. They could be looking for love in the wrong places. And because they lack that love growing up as a child, you know, she's willing to accept anything. So anything could look like a leader to her. You know, you give her just a little bit of love, and to her, that's like the world, because she's been abandoned, right? She's facing trauma. So she's constantly seeking validation, seeking love, seeking to be wanted, right? And I think a person who is manipulative can kind of prey on that. They can see where you're weak at and kind of use that to their advantage. The same thing with the narcissist person. I feel like maybe they've had parents who were very cruel to them growing up, some kind of form of abuse. And abuse is not always physical. Abuse is sometimes emotional too. You know, like silent treatments. That's big. Like that's one thing, one hurdle that I had to kind of grow in my marriage from, silent treatments, because that's just stemming from the parents. You know, when they get upset, just not talking for days at a time. You know, it's not healthy, because you leave your partner feeling neglected, unwanted, and then they feel like not worthy of you to speak to you, you know, at the time. So it's like it plays a lot on your mindset, you know what I mean? And but it can stem from what you've learned and how you've been treated. So you think that it's the right thing to do, or it's the right way to handle the situation based off of how you grew up, you know. But it's just all about maturing. And like you said, always, you know, iron sharpens iron. So once you realize, like, hey, this is not working, this is not healthy, you know, I don't like how I feel when you treat me like this. We got to do something. We got to learn how to communicate a little bit better. And I think people can heal from narcissism. I don't feel like it's an end all be all, like you just have to just be done with them. I feel like if they're willing to grow from it, like a Nick Cannon, wanting to do the work, seeking therapy. And then I also wanted to talk about a little bit about what you can do if you're a woman in this situation, or man in this situation. What are some of the things that you can do to protect yourself, mentally, spiritually? And one of the things is setting boundaries, right? And also self-love, remembering to love on yourself constantly, so that nobody can't break you. You know, you got to be so solid in yourself, and also to put God first. In anything and everything that you do, because you might not always have that partner, but you'll always have God to lean on. And you just got to know where your priorities are in life, so that you can mentally deal with whatever you're going through, or be able to grow from it, break out of it, so you can move on and get yourself together, and then heal yourself too, right? Yeah. And you anybody have any comments in the chat?
I would. Oh, Go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, what Judy said, it's a mindset, thinks very highly of themselves and lacks empathy towards their partner or friendships.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
That's true. Yep.
True.
Yep. It's all about me, 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 me.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It is all about me, 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 me. But no.
Okay, Rob.
Let me find out Rod's a narcissist for real.
But, okay,
Check a couple of the boxes.
Hold on. So even with that said, right? It depends on the intent, because if I'm thinking to myself, right, it's about me, right? There's two ways there's two directions this can go. It's all about me, and then that's it, or it's all about me, so I have enough to do for others. Because if I don't fill my cup, then I can't pour into others.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be about me in order for me to help other people out. But I think the biggest thing when it comes to narcissism is the ego.
Mm-hmm.
Is the ego. Because, or the control of the ego. There's nothing wrong with having an ego. But when you lose control of yourself and you lose control of the ego, that's when narcissism becomes alive. That's when it's breeded. All these different traits of a narcissist, it's out of control when the ego is in play.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of these qualities or characteristics, to Rod's point earlier, it still breeds leadership. But if you don't know how to lead, if you don't know how to do these things, or articulate certain words so that they won't come off a certain way, so that your partner or this other person won't be offended, or it can be misconstrued as this, quote unquote person, this bad person, this narcissistic person. And to your point, Tiana, it stems from a lot of trauma. A person that's unhealed. So then they take their trauma and their pain and they project it on the people that they quote unquote are supposed to care about. So, and even with the level of accountability, the reason why a lot of people are not accountable for what they do, because then how can I say it? Nobody wants to take the blame for something, but everybody always wants the credit, right?
Right.
Reason being is because, think about it. If I blame you for something, that's not a good feeling, right? That feeling of being blamed. Oh, you did it. But congratulations, Ra. You gotta stay though. Like, it feels good. It's rewarding. So you want that feeling though. But the first step into actually experiencing both ends is owning up to everything. That's the reason why when it comes to accountability, it's important for people to have a business. And I want to get on the financial side to it for a second. The reason why it's important for somebody to own a business is because when you take ownership, you take a certain level of responsibility, right? Everything is on you. When something goes right, yes, you have the right to take the credit. You don't have to, but you have the right to. When something goes wrong, it's your fault. That's the first level of have a business. And I could ask everybody on this panel, right? We're all legacy builders. If something doesn't go right, it's our fault. Because we have a business. We take ownership of that. Most people don't take accountability because they're used to doing or working for other people, so the onus is not on them. They could always point the finger when something goes wrong. And so that type of behavior is easily manipulated when the onus is not on you. But when you start to do things on your own and start to take accountability, well, that's where accountability comes in at, when you start to take ownership of everything in your life. It'll transform in your business. It'll transform in your relationship. It'll transform in every area of your life. Accountability is important, but it's the ego that creates that narcissism.
Okay. All right, Dr. Phil. All right. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
I gotta say, Kay, I give you credit tonight. You articulated your words I think that's the best Nola episode yet, though. Like, I like it. Drop bomb.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Let's get to Ryan's comment.
Mm.
Go ahead and read it to you.
So Ryan says, well, that begs the question, is it narcissistic or is it the person being a byproduct of our society here in the U.S.? We've become a me society here in the U.S. and not cared about what happens to our neighbors until we need them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a great point right there.
Great point, Ryan. Really,
Right.
really good point. And
That's
then
a great point.
And then he follows up with, when is a person ever truly healed? Is it that we're healed, or is it that we've developed healthier coping mechanisms and accountability?
That's
Right.
Good questions, Ryan. Good
okay,
questions.
Ryan. We need you on the show.
Right. I
No,
feel
definitely.
like the healing process, right?
Mhm.
I can say with the healing process, to Ryan's point, when are you really healed or a coping mechanism, right? I think you are truly healed when things, as far as a relationship, right?
Mm.
I personally feel like you are healed when you can stop talking about what that ex did to you all the time.
Mm.
So, and I'm just speaking from experience, right? So like at the beginning it was like always talking about the past. Oh, what happened in the previous relationship all the time. So it's like, dang, why do I keep talking about this? Right? Am I still hurting from it? Am I still traumatized from it? You know? And then as time goes on, when and if you're dating, you don't bring that up. I feel like, and it can be different for everybody. I'm just speaking for myself. Like, I won't say that I'm truly completely healed, but I hear less of what happened in my previous relationship, more so now if I'm talking to someone new than I've done when I first, became single.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's real now. I like that.
That's dope.
Yeah. Narcissism. I mean, I guess what are some of the signs for me, I guess now understanding the definition of manipulation. I think looking in terms of a woman, I mean, I guess for me now that after all the stuff that we're saying is just when, to our point, if I'm dating a woman and she's just all about herself all the time, it's only about her. It's only about her problems and not our problems. You know what I mean? So those are kind of some red flags. Now that you're saying that, though, you know. Now I'm thinking about it, though. I don't know. Women, y'all might be the real narcissist. Now that I think about it, I'm gonna retract my statement from before.
Don't let me pull up the statistics. If it's more
No, I'm joking. But
narcissistic behavior in men than women, because we know women have some narcissistic traits as well, but men, y'all got us beat. Sorry, I looked it up.
Yeah, no, they definitely have.
Yeah, I roll with that. I had to take a couple jabs before the show was over. Couldn't put it all on us. Nah, but I mean, back to T's point earlier on. I mean, I think some of the stuff that we have to do is just create boundaries for these type of things. Then when you realize you're in that situation, you got to create ways to get out of that situation, or at least work with your partner to kind of come to some type of resolution. I think, even to Ryan's point earlier on, a lot of times you don't actually talk things through anymore. And so we got to get back to talking things through and not overreacting based off emotions and acting on impulse. Like, I think that's a big thing. So to that point, the weight one's always an easy one for men and women, because like, all right, if it's a woman, you gotta talk to your girl nicely. Like, okay, you gotta do things. Men, I think some solutions for us is like, hey, let's go to the gym together. Let's be healthier together. You know what? I feel like my cholesterol a little high. Let's have a salad with this food instead. You know what I mean? Little things like that. You can't be saying like, I don't like how you look. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. You know what I mean? So I think those narcissistic traits that would display or come off narcissistic, not even actually trying to be narcissistic. So I guess for the fellas, that's kind of, some advice when it comes to that type of stuff in terms of manipulation and controlling. Finance is a big thing. We're in finances.
Right.
Your girl might be spending too much. You know what I mean? So you might have to have those conversations like, how can we save a little bit more? Or when we're about to go out to eat or buy something, instead of us ordering a couple appetizers, just, like I'm really trying to use healthy manipulation. How about we not get an appetizer, but we get a main menu and you get 2 drinks? This way, we can do something else with some more money that we save instead of buying appetizers and getting a whole bunch of drinks.
Oh my God.
Listen, I'm practicing.
Manipulation.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. It's I'm glad you brought that up because it kind of go back in, Kay had brought up, the finance part of it. Some of the behaviors, because we want to always, whatever we talk about, we want to tie finances into it, So some of the behaviors that come with a narcissistic partner, with the control issue, not just mentally, but with your finances too, right? So this is one that I read and I'm like, so it says a partner may control access to the money as a way of maintaining power in the relationship. This can limit your financial independence and making it harder to leave the relationship. Hence, one of the questions we asked earlier, like why would a person stay with them, or why did they keep going back to that person, right? If they're more financially stable, they're controlling the finances. So another one is when it comes to gaslighting around the money. They may manipulate you into believing financial problems are your fault, even if their actions cause the issue.
That's deep.
So it can erode your confidence in managing your own finances, right?
Yeah, that's something, because even like money is the biggest issue in the relationships, right?
Yeah.
So I can definitely see how a narcissist could use that to take advantage of you. That's why, I don't know, how do you how about you, T? How do you feel about having a separate account for yourself at all times for the just in case?
To be totally honest, I've had separate accounts. There was never a joint account. Now, not that I didn't want a joint account, because I did, because I'm in my mindset, we're one,
right?
So you will want the joint account, but I think it's still okay for a woman and a husband to still have their own separate account.
Right.
So I think it should be a joint account and a separate account. I don't think there's nothing wrong with either partner having a separate account. And I feel like you can still have it and still let the other person know. You know what I mean? Like, it all depends on.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
It is. It depends on the person. It depends on them. Like, I know a couple who they have joint accounts, separate accounts. Like, they share everything. Like, I would love to get them on our podcast one day. But like, their marriage, not saying that they have a perfect marriage, but like, just hearing the experience and stuff like that. Like what we talk about, they don't have those major issues that most couples have. They probably she told me their biggest argument is fighting over the remote control and what to watch. Like, it's the little petty stuff that they that they argue about, but like the big things when it comes to money and stuff like that. And I think all of that comes with communication, right? Nobody is trying to control nothing. Everybody keeping it transparent. I think communication.
Yeah.
I mean, I like what you brought up, T, but I will rebuttal a little bit. So, like you said, it is layered and it's complicated, because if you have a joint account and you have a main account, what if, or both sides are spending money recklessly at that point it can become narcissistic behavior, because if even though you both have joint accounts and then there's one main account that you guys share, you know what I mean? Like you don't know how the spending's going. And to that point, I mean, I think it's a real thing in society, because if we're being honest, if when it comes to the financial part of that, if that were the case, like a lot of households would be running a lot smoother. Now, don't get me wrong, with inflation and all that, no household is running smooth. But you know what I mean, just running smoother, because what does narcissism look like in that situation? Where it's like, okay, all right, we got joint accounts, yeah, that's cute, but at the end of the day, like how are we actually spending money in these joint accounts? Because we don't see the other one. Whereas if the traditional way is like it's all one account, everybody's truly accountable. Because I mean, in my honest opinion, I'm with the joint accounts. That's gonna always be my setup anyway. But just generally speaking, if it is all one account, it forces us to all be a unit at all times. Whereas I feel like having a joint account and one main account is actually setting a tone, to me, for a little scapegoat. You have your cake and eat it too. Like, yeah, we together, but we still got our little separate thing. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I think that can develop, because if in your relationship and you find out that, hey, one person's not that good with finances, you gotta hide something. I think that's a different story, develops into that. But I mean, I think there's something to be said to Ryan's point earlier on, where it's just like we're in a society where it's just about me, and we all have separate accounts. Like it's just the illusion of us all being a true unit. But if we're all one unit, why would we hide anything from each other? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
I don't think
it's hiding from
if know that you have a like your partner knows, okay, well, I do have this separate account. I feel like the joint account, and it should be multiple accounts, right? Account for like your bills, like I feel like it shouldn't be, and this is me thinking business mindset. You have your joint account where you probably pay the bills and stuff, and then you have another joint account where it's like your vacation money. Like we like to take four vacations a year, but I still think everybody should know, like, well, I have an account over here. I have a separate account where I might drop bonus money into it or something like that. I put a percentage into our joint account, but then I keep this over here. I think it's all in communication. I think everybody, it sounds easy saying it as we're talking, but we know realistically this is not what us in America, what we do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I get it, but
here's how I see it though. In the country, here's how I see it though. I just think it depends on the people and the mindset, because I feel like a lot of people back then can do something like that. A lot of people now, when I say do something like that, I mean have multiple accounts or separate accounts, I should say. A lot of people, that would be good for them back in the days. Now it depends on who that person, like who are those two people, because some people may not be able to handle that on their own. Meaning, like some people, like Rashidi said, one might be bad with money and the other might not. So is it a benefit to that person who's good with money to always monetize and, the other person who's not good with money? Like it's unfair, right? So it's a scenario where I feel like we don't talk about finance enough when it comes in relationships in general. I think it's a hidden gem that we don't talk about. We stay surface level with the conversation when it comes to finances. And I feel like we need to talk about money all the time in finances, because that's a huge part of the partnership is money. Yeah. And a lot of times we overlook it, or we underestimate the process and what it takes to sustain, the dollar, the power of the dollar. And we don't talk about it enough as a couple. Like, and we need to be talking about it. We need to be having what we call a financial analysis on as a couple, as a unit. We need to be talking about our finances more and more. And like I said, as far as the joint account versus your own accounts, I just think it depends on the person. One, like Tawana was saying, for the bills. Another account should be for investments. Another account should be, for miscellaneous things that we need. So it should be different accounts that we should have, but it's just a question of if you and that partner are both financially and mentally stable to actually make that work.
Yeah. I partially agree with what you're saying. I don't think that, that's a back in the days thing to have separate accounts. I feel like can well do that nowadays, even more so because especially we as women, and men too, but we usually have a couple of side hustles, right? So I feel like it's nothing wrong with pushing yourself harder in your side hustle so you can have an extra account for yourself so you can do what you want to do. Sometimes you might want to buy your partner a Christmas gift without them knowing about every single thing that happens in the account. I mean, sometimes as an adult, you just want some privacy, like you do. And I think even if you're, well, and then another thing is, if you are doing a joint account, you better be married. And then I think y'all better throw all of that stuff away about 50-50, because if I'm putting all the money into one account, oh yeah, we gonna be married, Ra. So so you could play, that could be like your narcissistic manipulative ways. Yeah, I'm a leader, throw all the money in this account, we're gonna work together, but when are you marrying me?
Yeah, so okay. So I get that from a woman's perspective. I get that from a woman's perspective. But this is where you we left out a key thing. I get it. But going back to the point of leadership, now I'm not saying, that question ain't coming, but I should be working towards a common goal. And see, you made the key statement, which most women make though, like, oh, we got to be married for you to be doing all that. If you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying.
Rock, can I ask you a question? How much your wedding cost these days? Just how much?
30, 50,000.
You have to have a wedding.
20 to 50,000.
You don't need a wedding.
True.
Come on, stop it.
A lot of people going to the courthouse. No, you don't. You don't need a wedding.
Come on, man.
I've seen so many.
No.
I didn't have a big wedding. We didn't spend thousands of dollars on my wedding. The point was the just the marriage of the God for us. We didn't spend thousands of dollars. I think we had maybe 60 people max at our wedding. It was definitely it was just the point of getting married. It was what God had put together. We didn't make it flashy. I didn't have no long white dress or whatever. That wasn't a thing for me.
No, I believe that's a real thing. Legitimately, and a lot of women definitely feel that way.
Ryan said too much.
You know what I mean? But it's real for real. But in my opinion, that do sound like a little bit of girl math too, though. Like, yeah, we ain't doing the wedding, but we doing all this other stuff.
Yeah,
to replace the money
that's gonna cost me a third or 40-50% of the wedding. But still,
it's like when a girl save you $200. Yo, yeah, I saved you $200, babe. And then we go to Target and spend $140.
180. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
all right, so I'm gonna give a scenario. So now you're married now, right? You're in this marriage with this man who sold you all of these dreams and leadership qualities, right? You're basically putting all the money in the account because you believe in his vision, right? He has a vision for you and the family, or just you and him, if it's just you and him. So you're believing in him and you're going ahead and taking all your money and you're putting it together in a joint account, right? You find out this man has been cheating. He's a narcissist. He's totally flipped out on you. Everything that he said in the beginning, everything he was, it's like a whole, you were a whole new person. Like, you don't even know who this guy is. What is your advice to her, to that woman?
The advice goes back to the key words that you said. Why are you buying dreams? The key words that you said, which, if we're being honest, generally speaking, women do tend to buy more dreams than men. You know what I mean? So that's how, respectfully, and you can be manipulated, and a lot of women do get manipulated in that situation. So I'm not taking away that part of it, but the key things that you said, which is a common thing that women do say, is buying dreams. You invested all this type of stuff and you find out he was cheating. But the reality of the situation is, even if he was doing all that other nonsense, if he actually had a financial plan for you, at the end of the day, you still would prosper and you still would grow. Now, of course, if it was just all straight manipulation, then it wouldn't have been a benefit for you. But the reality of the situation is that, to your point, that woman bought a dream. You can't buy dreams. You know what I mean? We all know that at the end of the day, it's all about a person's actions. You know what I mean? And as humans, not just men or women, but just as humans, we just tend to believe in the hope. We tend to believe in the potential, and so that's the part that where people will be like playing around with, where it's like, all right, like you said, you met this man in X, Y, Z, and it's the same thing for men. I mean, listen, we meet women all the time where it's just like, yo, she could work at McDonald's flipping burgers, to be quite honest with you, and we see the potential, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you also got to see the red flags. You also got to see that, hey, wait, all right, cool. She want to McDonald's, like this, the little things, like, okay, you want to spend all my money, or if the one joke I saw, I remember the other day on social media where it was like it was his girl's birthday, and he even got a little bag, got it this, got it that. He's like, yeah, man, I got you all this, and then it was his birthday. He's like, what'd you get me? She got him a pair of socks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when is disproportionate like that? For men, it's the red flags, and like you said, for women, it's red flags when this guy turned out to be America's worst nightmare. So I think it's about going back to just paying attention to the little details of who people are, because I think that always gets lost in translations. Like,
Yeah,
a lot of people never pay
that
attention
gets,
to who you actually dating. Like,
that gets lost, but that's no longer needed to be said because the damage is done. She's in the relationship now. She's in fact she's in a marriage. What is your advice to her? She's dealing with a narcissist partner. She's giving all her money to him. She has nothing, no money, no savings for herself. How does she get her up? How does she get herself up on her feet again? What is your advice to her?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's going to start off with therapy first, because the truth is she has to build her confidence to get back and build her understanding what's going on. Therapy, because the truth is, like, in that situation, the woman has just as much power. Just because the money's going into his account, she still can walk away with half. In fact, she's in that situation. She has the financial leverage. So if she's in that position, my advice is just getting therapy, because therapy is going to help you come up with solutions, help you get your confidence back and say, like, hey, listen, my money's in the account. Like, actually, yeah, the money's in your account, but we in this together. Last time I checked, we are married. Last time I checked,
Right.
if we go to court, I guess I'm getting alimony. I mean, we could play around if we want to. You call people bluff. So I think going to therapy and having those conversations, X, Y, Z. So I think the first question is just therapy. Like that's the real thing.
What about you?
Definitely. Oh, go ahead, Kay.
In that specific situation, for one, like Ross said, it has first and foremost is the therapy, because the confidence level is low. That's number one. Number two, she has to make a choice, and the choice is, does she want to be with this, continue to suffer with this person, or actually move on and get her life together? And because a lot of times we're so comfortable in what we know, we're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of growth. We're afraid of what's out there that what's different. So it's getting, or making, like I said, making a choice to decide, okay, I'm going to leave this person. Because a lot of times, and this is for men and women, we're afraid to leave that person because of the level of comfortability. And it's messed up, because even if we're comfortable, it's a comfortable feeling of still feeling uncomfortable, because this person is not doing us any service, doing us any good. So I think it's just about making that choice. So to Rob's point, get that therapy, and to my point, make a choice to leave. And I know it's easier said than done, but you're doing yourself a disservice by continuing to be in a relationship like that.
Right. That was nice. And then T, I was gonna say to you, because you've been there and you've done that, right? And you've healed, right? As you stated. What is your advice to that woman out there who's afraid to take that leap? She doesn't know what's on the other side. She's afraid to start all over again. Give her some hope.
Yes, I would definitely say, number one, talk to God more than anything. Like, if you don't, a lot of people believe in God, but just don't connect with him, or don't know how to connect with him. Maybe like, I don't have to go to church, or I believe in God. God knows my heart. We hear that a lot, right? But there's a difference between knowing who he is, like knowing God, and like really like knowing him, have that connection with him. Like I can say, oh, I know Rod through word of mouth, but I don't have that relationship with him. So I really don't know Rod. You know what I'm saying? Right. So having that relationship with God, I will say this. it took for when a woman's fed up. Number one,
Ain't nothing you can do about it.
when a woman's fed up, number one, and then I literally had to tune everything else out. Like, you know, sometimes you go to close friends, or you go to even to people in my church, you know. It had to get to the point, because sometimes a woman, we want to just get that instant answer. What can we get? So sometimes you just have to be in that quiet space to hear from him, right? So I would say to that person, like, get in that quiet space and get in that prayer closet and talk to him, because there is a peace and an understanding that he gives you that's not an audible one, but it's just that feeling that you get, and connect, because that's what helps build your confidence, because now you're getting that confidence from him.
Yep.
Jesus is that's the best confidence ever, right? And to Ra's point, when he said we have power, then that's when you put your foot down, because as a woman, once we get that confidence, there's no stopping us. That's when your confidence come in, because we do have the power. That's when you say, no, I'm not sending you nothing. I'm not putting nothing else in that account, because you work, he works. He can't make your paycheck go into that account. You have to manually put that in here, right? So number one, build your confidence. If you feel like you can't do that, then yes, as Ra and Kay said, seek therapy. I will never tell nobody not to seek therapy and only seek God, because God created those people with those talents and those gifts for a reason. There's therapists there for a reason. God created them to have that ability to help others, right? So yes, that seek therapy. And then once you gain that confidence and that power, then put your foot down. Like, no, I'm not sending you nothing. I'm not doing nothing. Like Ross said, oh, you want to take it there? Because we can go to court, because I'm going to get half or more anyway, period. But I will say this in that sense, because even though we're talking about the negative qualities of a narcissist, right? And you're married, just because he's a narcissist doesn't mean that he does not love his wife. Again, back to the beginning, the definition of a narcissist, and we know that is a mental health condition, right? So that doesn't mean he doesn't love his wife. He doesn't love his partner. But once that woman put her foot down, I bet you he would start seeing things differently, right?
That's
so
right.
It's like, okay, she got a backbone. So what is he gonna do?
Right.
He's gonna divorce me now because I'm standing up and I'm saying, no, we won. This is a partnership. So now she's stepping up and taking her role in this marriage. What is he gonna do? Divorce me because of it?
That's right.
The disclaimer, T, I didn't mean it for you to take it that far. Let me put you back in your box. I'm joking. Well, let's put it over some of these comments real quick so we can get to everybody wrapped up. I don't know if you want to read them, T.
Okay. Yeah. So let's start with Ryan. Oh, Ryan. Okay. Ryan says, I would argue we will always hurt from precious situations that harmed us. However, we know how to accept what happened, how to grow from it, how to best articulate it. You should be able to speak to your partner when these feelings or situations come to relationships. Are a give and take. Relationships are a give and take. Some days I'm 80%, other days I'm 15%. It's about articulating it and being able to communicate with our partners about it in order to grow. Also, some days both our cups are not going to equal 100%. So we need each other. That's what he's saying. He also said opinion, his account, her account, our account. If you can't have all three, it's not likely healthy. Transparency between accounts. What else? He also says actions do not equate dreams. If the actions do not match the words you get out. Also, challenge question. Approximately 10% of the world population is narcissistic. It isn't that they have narcissistic traits. Arguably, we all do, whether we want to admit it or not. He said, but usually past traumas indicate their modern day problems. Shout out to Ryan. Terry Miller, sorry. Terry says, it's easy to say that a man who loves you will have a financial plan for you, but in reality, that doesn't happen. This is why people need to have their own money. My father taught me a woman should always have her own money. And then Ryan says, too many people get comfortable with the bad that they become scared to be uncomfortable and learn the good. It's the comfortable feeling of the familiarity.
That's what I was saying.
Mhm. Yeah, there we go.
I have a couple comments on Facebook.
Okay.
Stephen Morant says, I think you guys do a great job coming up with these topics. As a finance person myself, I've always had a separate account along with a joint account. My wife always knew I had a separate account. Hillary said that he got a point. She was talking to Ra when that populated. But Stephen also said, I agree 100% therapy with y'all. I'm currently in therapy because my wife left me and took my son March 6th of 2023. Next week, we're going to court so I can get visitations in a divorce.
Wow.
Stephen, sorry to hear that, Stephen.
Yeah, definitely praying for you.
Absolutely.
That's all I have. Any comments here, okay?
No, none on my side.
Gotcha. All right. There we go.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's 8:01. That's our time, guys. I really enjoyed everybody tonight. Thank you so much for joining on the live. For those of you who aren't watching it live, if you're watching the replay, just leave a comment. Let us know that you've watched it. And please, please, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to build up our followers. So go ahead and subscribe to us. It's Legacy Builders Us on YouTube. Go ahead and click that subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. All right. And we will see you here next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's our time, y'all.
What's next week's topic? Did we say next week's topic?
Yes.
Oh, next week's topic is
is dating in different cultures.
Dating in different cultures.
Dating in different cultures. Yep.
All right. Shout out to everybody. Y'all have a good night.
Have a good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.